things around a little bit, we're going to conduct a little bit of new business first before we do the swearing in. Do I have a motion to ratify the election candidates results?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then we need to, a motion to accept the letter of resignation from the commissioner position of Rob Hammond.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, swearing in the new elected trustee, Rob Hannon. Ready?
Yeah.
Hold your right hand. I, Rob Hannon,
I, Rob Hannon,
do hereby declare
do hereby declare
and affirm
and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of trustee of the Winfield Fire Protection District
of the office of trustee of the Winfield Fire Protection District
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Yeah, and go do this. Thank you.
All right.
Now we call the roll now. We call the roll.
Recall the roll.
Pro Tem President Sass.
Here.
Treasurer Callis.
Still
Trustee Staley. Here. Trustee Simpson.
Here.
Trustee Hannon.
Here.
All right.
All right then.
Next on the agenda, we're gonna have newly elected offices. Do we have a motion to for president?
I nominate George Callis for president.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to for the secretary.
I'd like to nominate Phil Sauce as secretary. I think you're been doing a fantastic job.
Oh, well, thank
Second, third.
you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the treasurer.
Motion, Treasurer Jenny.
Do we have a second?
Come on, been there, done that.
I would like to reconsider that, maybe make Rob
Oh, God.
the treasurer. It's a great, Jenny's been the treasurer before, and I think it's a great learning step as to,
And it's
That's a heck of a sales job right there.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Surprised there's not a train going by right now.
it's actually a bus.
All right then.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're gonna let you jump in with both of you.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna have a motion to,
What, don't you switch seats?
Hmm?
If you're president now, right?
the president doesn't consider whatever they want, because Mark already said it over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe George takes over.
Would you like to take over?
I guess so.
Okay.
Jenny seems to insist that I take over.
Now we know.
Who's the real president? As usual, no one's in charge of the house. Well, thank you. We need to have an approval of the minutes for our public hearing on 4/21/21 and our regular meeting of 4/20/21. Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Is that one motion for both? Okay, then it is.
Thank you.
Right now, we'd like to open up the public for any remarks from the floor. And of course, our distinguished fire personnel that's here. Don't see any hands. Okay. we'll revisit that later in case someone has a thought. Reports, I'd like to hear the treasurer's report, please.
Wow, looks great. Things are good. And move on.
As presented, we don't have a chance, right?
We have.
I make a motion, we accept it as presented.
Second.
Chief, enlightenment.
Mr. President. The special operations training for this month was technical rescue trench, and it was actually done remotely. And it goes back to what I was talking about in previous months with respect to doing more intensive training locally amongst the alliance agencies. And specifically, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank and recognize the contribution of Ed Troutman, who's provided leadership for all three of the teams, and most specifically for the water rescue team. He's the head person on it, and he's been really. We just actually held our first alliance drill last Friday for water rescue. We hosted back at Windermere, I believe. And so the water team is once again leading the way. We're off and running on the new training program. So again, compliments to Eddie for that. The regular multi-company drills are currently in progress today, tomorrow, and the next. There is a commercial building just south of DuPage Airport on Roosevelt Road that our crews are using for commercial fires. So I know in previous months, a couple months ago, well, last month we did high rise. The month before that we did single family. And the interesting and unique thing about commercial fires is a commercial fire occupancy is we do things a little bit differently than we do in either of those other two applications. Oftentimes in commercial occupancies, you can have stuff like big areas. So things like wide area searches, it's not as easy as it is in a room like this or in a single family house for companies to go and do search operations. Because if you have some massive room, it's easier to get lost. It's easier to not find someone that you're searching for. So there's special techniques using rasp ropes, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to it that you need to train on. Other things, think about commercial occupancies in those big buildings where they have a lot of cubes, office cubes. Easy place to get lost at, easy place not being able to find a victim. So again, stuff like that brings its own unique challenges in commercial occupancy. So when we have, this is one of the things that we incorporate into our annual training for all of those reasons, because when we go and fight a fire in one, it's a different animal. Things like ceiling grids. There was a fire in a big city some years ago in commercial occupancy, ceilings like this, ceiling collapse, firefighters got trapped, how to extricate yourself from that. There's a lot of nuance to it. So that training is currently in progress. It is not live fired. It is smoke only and advancing hose lines. Similarly, in a commercial occupancy, truck companies and engine companies tend to marry up for a lot of reasons. To help advance the hose line, you have to have bigger hose lines in those occupancies. It takes more people to move it, especially through what could be a cut up occupancy. And then having a truck company along to be searching off of the lines to do forcible entry in office doors and stuff. So for a lot of reasons, we do things differently. In a single family house, typically the first engine and first truck that show up will do a pass through. The two officers will communicate with each other. They'll get on opposite sides of the building, do a coordinated attack so that the truck company opens up the back door right as when the engine company goes in, so that when the fire flares up, they're already getting a knock on it, and then they can start their operations. You know, and then searching above the floor, all the other stuff. And in commercial occupancies, again, those companies will marry up together. So every area or every floor or every whatever engine truck will go in together so they can support each other in the operation. Again, unique training, and that's why we do it. That's in progress. And as always, anyone that is interested in attending, let me know, and we can take you out there and you can see the drill firsthand. Recent events of note, on April 26th, Redshift on the 2700 block of Cooley, we had a small structure fire. We were assisted by Wheaton, West Chicago, and Carroll Stream. On May 1st, Black Shift, Our tender went over to assist West Chicago with a fire on the north side of their town. And then on May 8th, also Redshift, the tender went to assist Warrenville with a structure fire in the south side unincorporated area of their community. Service anniversaries. The good news is, well, they're both here, right? Only one of them's in the room. Firefighter paramedic Brian Burke, 6 years with the district on May 5th. To show you the caliber of our employees, he's involved in a lot of things with the district. He's transitioning, taking care of a lot of stuff with the maintenance program, a lot of stuff with vehicles and apparatus. The SCBA's, we've been working together to complete the grant process and the new self-contained breathing apparatus. So he's involved in a lot of stuff. He's president of Local 5024. So he's very much involved in very many things, and he does a great job at all of them. Also firefighter paramedic Jeff Fester, who's on duty but not in the room at the moment. Also celebrated his 6-year anniversary on May 5th. They got hired together, although I believe you're senior. Yeah. So
You came out of it before?
higher on the list.
Higher on the list.
So also Jeff Fester, he's the one that coordinates the address program. Many of you have talked to him because he takes care of the uniform stuff. He took care of the turnout gear stuff, which I actually have more on in a minute. So he's also involved in a lot of things here, and both awesome employees. So thanks and congratulations to both of them. Speaking of Brian Burke, the Engine 31 update. I haven't got anything overly recent, so I sent some pictures out a few times of progress. So the latest is they're reassembling it. And the last communication I had with McQueen, the local dealer, was that they're still projected to have a May completion time. So I assume Brian and I will be probably heading up there to do a final inspection on their completed work. And again, I don't have a specific timeline, but they're still telling us it should be the end of the month. We have one vacancy because, as you recall from last month, my report, one of our members, Beckley, went and took a job in Lombard, leaving us with a vacancy. The commission is hard at work finalizing the hiring list, and that should be done in a couple weeks. So we'll get going on that at that time. The 2020 DuPage County tax extension is out. I didn't have it in time to put in your packets. I apologize, but this is I only printed the fire district pages only. Something I cover in detail periodically throughout the year in terms of equalized assessed valuation of the respective agencies, their rates and other stuff. You'll notice this year that our rate went down, and we gained about approximately $25 million in assessed valuation. By comparison, West Chicago also went down in their rate, and they went up by about $60 million in their assessed value. Warrenville went up by about $20 million in their assessed valuation, and their rate went up. Carroll Stream went up by about $28 million in assessed valuation, and their rate went up pretty well as well. So again, these are all of the paper districts, the operational districts within the county. So it's just good to know when we're talking about all the conversations that we have to know where we are relative to the other agencies. So I thought this was good information for the board members to have. Thank you. Another update I have for you from previous meetings, and it is an agenda item, so we'll get into that in more detail later. But we're working on trying to get appraisals for the 3 properties: Station 32, Station 31, and the property on County Farm Road, and that'll come under that agenda item. We've been meeting with the architecture firm, as I had told you about what it would take with respect to Station 32, what it would take with respect to Station 31. and what it would take to build a new station. So actually, I had the good fortune of catching Jenny. She had to come in and help me with some paperwork, and I'd asked her to sit in if you have anything to say, but it's just, again, gathering all of this information because I want to be able to provide the board with all of the values, all of the costs, all of the options, so that we can make an informed decision about where we're starting off as a jumping off point to the new strategic plan, because it would likely hinge on those precise matters, where we're responding from and how many. So to start there, so all that stuff has been in progress. I'm hopeful that we can have a report and even perhaps a presentation for the June meeting, but we're working, and all of that stuff is in process. Similarly with the financial firm that we brought in to give us some assistance with respect to financing issues. I know I've talked about that previously as well, and we're probably going to try and get him in for a presentation in the next month or so, I think, as well. The engine committee, as you recall from all of our conversations, and certainly from the previous month and from the new budget, new engine was approved. I'm going to be forming, I asked for volunteers, and we're going to be forming that committee sometime shortly after this meeting. We're going to get going. So for those of you that might have seen demonstrators either here, if you were driving by and you saw a shiny new fire truck in the parking lot, well, the local manufacturers, which is their tendency to do, will stop by when they have a demonstrator in town, show you what they've got, give it a test drive, bang some apartment doors and that kind of thing. So you would have seen those around recently. That was why we're going to start getting going in earnest on that in the very near future. The turnout gear that we were talking about, and again with the COVID delays, has finally started to arrive. Actually, I laid your out right outside the door, so everyone get a chance to see it. Getting everyone into 2 sets of compliant turnout gear that has been moving. The guys have done a remarkable job getting that done. It was just waiting, unfortunately, for the manufacturing delays that were incurred, but we're in a much better place than we were with respect to that gear. And last thing is we continue to work with IRMA on policy updates and several safety initiatives. We're bringing in a company or an entity named Eagle One. It's a cost neutral service where when someone gets hurt on duty, if it's emergent, we take them to the emergency room. If it's not emergent, there's a one-call thing that they can get them into their program to start getting them to see specialists and start getting diagnostics done sooner, which will ultimately get them back to work sooner. So that's a good thing, and we're going to be employing that in the very near future. Similarly, Benderlift is a company that's working with us on workplace safety, a lot of lifting techniques, ergonomic safety issues, and then Lexipol, which is a policy and standard operating procedure and guideline vendor that will come in and assist you with updating your policies and procedures, which we are sorely in need of doing. It is not an inexpensive proposition. However, I'm working with IRMA, and we're hoping to get the bulk of it, if not all of it, covered by grant funds. So that's why we haven't actually already started getting going on it, is because I'm waiting to try and make sure that we can get as much of it grant funded as humanly possible. And the annual audit has begun. Robin could probably speak more to that than I could, but the auditors have been in.
Yeah, they gave me their list of things to get to them preliminarily while they're off-site, so I sent everything over to them to get them started. And they'll be in on Monday. They have slated Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but those probably be done Monday because I kind of have everything all together for them already and they're in now pretty quick.
And the last thing is with respect to the ambulance purchase, which is in progress. And just a reminder that I did go through and do our due diligence with respect to lease options and all that stuff, and the most cost-effective option by far, going back to the numbers I provided last month, is the prepayment option. Just so you all know that I did in fact do what we had talked about doing and all that due diligence with respect to the turn-in lease, which is not an option for an ambulance, and certainly not that ambulance. And then the lease, which is essentially a lease to own, which is essentially the car payment, which translated into in excess of, just to refresh everyone's memory, in excess of 11,000 for a 5-year lease, 14,000 for a 6-year lease, and 17,000 for a 7-year lease, which was actually as far as they would go out for an ambulance. So, Mr. President, that is my entire report.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I know you work hard on that. You're getting better every time you go.
Ways to go.
Bernie, do we have anything?
Yeah, we do have just one thing that I did want to point out, because it's a responsibility that we have, and we take care of it very, very well, so it doesn't come up very often, but every once in a while, it's a good idea to take a look at that. Recently, under the Health Insurance Portability and Protection Act, we have certain responsibilities as a healthcare provider to protect protected health information, so that we have to keep confidential the information from our patients. And the system that we have here is very, very good. There's really the only people that ever have information are the actual hands-on care providers, and the way that the records are kept are very confidential, and information with respect to billing and their private information actually goes electronically to our billing vendor, who under the act are known as a business associate, and so they have the same responsibilities under HIPAA that we do to keep that information private, and to keep it from being breached or disclosed to unauthorized sources. Earlier this week, or maybe a little over a week ago, we received notice from our billing department, our billing vendor, that there had been a breach relating to a coding error they made, which resulted in one of our patients' records being sent to the wrong insurance company. Okay? And so they had his name, address, and the billing codes, and also an explanation of benefits was sent to the wrong patient because they transposed some numbers. To give you an idea of the magnitude of that, the Health and Human Services, the Department of Health and Human Services, is the one that oversees this. They have rules for breaches that are 500 or more. And then they have rules for less than 500. So the anticipation is that this kind of stuff is going to happen all the time. And they have specific expectations of what you're going to do that this happens 500 times. This is the first time that this has happened to us, one time in, HIPAA is what, 11, 12 years old. So we've taken care of it. There's a number of procedures that we had to go through to notify the individual, to notify Health and Human Services. Robin and I walked through their website and did everything that we needed to do. And it's an important obligation that we have. We take it very seriously, and that we have learned from the billing vendor. They need to develop a plan to explain what they're going to do to make sure it doesn't recur. And so they're doing education. They're looking through their procedures to make sure that they're that there is more accuracy with regard to data input and so forth. So we've done everything that we were required to do, but I thought I would bring that up. It's something that if it happened again, we would just do it in the ordinary course of business. But it's a good idea to make sure that we know we have those responsibilities, and I'm very, very pleased with the systems that are in place that pay attention to that in our department. So
I do have a question. I appreciate you bringing that up because it is very important. So do we, I'm guessing that we use a billing company
yes,
that then reports to the insurance company and opposed to like a hospital situation. So we have a billing company that we send this client's information to. That billing company then in turn deals with the hospital or doctors and what have you and the client at all at one time, correct?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Right.
Correct. And they have regular audits of how their billing systems are turned out and what their, what their data management systems are. And they have, regular security investigations into the integrity of their servers and so forth. So
And I would like to think that if something was to happen, that person that whose information got confused decided to bring a lawsuit to our attention, that would all be handled by the billing company. We have insurance for that.
it would be under our general liability insurance, but I'm sure there would be a tender to their carrier because it was their error. When you hear about these breaches, it's generally when a system gets hacked.
Mhm.
Okay, and thousands and thousands of files are corrupted and disseminated to inappropriate places. So it's almost in going in and making the report, the electronic report that you have to make to HHS. It's almost like the website is looking at you like, why are you bothering me?
Because it was human error.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And it doesn't happen, but it's important that we make sure that we have things in place so that tons of that doesn't get out. And what's nice is that we don't really touch that information in-house.
Thank you, Brian. Anything else?
No, other than I would recommend a executive session for appointment of personnel.
Okay. With that being said, any old business? No. I need a consent agenda.
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Monthly run report.
That's on the consent agenda.
Oh, beg your pardon. Thank you. It's my first time. Again, who's in charge? So.
Broke a trick campaign promise right.
I mean, that triangular ruler just came out right across the knuckle. Just like that. Bam. Okay, we've already done our election canvas. We want to ratify our, under new business, we want to ratify our collective bargaining agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
We already had that.
Oh, we did? Okay. Oh, you did? Okay. I don't hear too well on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And then ratify our additional expenditure for engine repair.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We want to.
Bernie, did it need to
You
be?
should have a roll call. vote
Yeah.
on it.
Was that a roll call because it's spending money? Okay, Robin, you should have corrected me on that.
Sorry, I was writing. Trustee Callis.
Yes.
Secretary Stas.
Yes.
Trustee Saylor.
Yes.
Trustee Hannah.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Attorney, look
And
at
the ratification of
The CBA
collective bargaining. That's spending a little more money.
President Kelly.
Yes.
Secretary Stats.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Gannon.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes. At the next meeting, I'm going to hold my hand out. Someone can walk me through this, okay? Is it okay that we just have a vote to reappoint Lieutenant Pete Daly to the pension board? Do I have a motion?
Some of,
Second.
Any opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Discussion of possible action for filling the commission vacancy. We have a couple of letters here. Who wants to start?
I can start. I don't know Kyle Wolber, right, other than the letter that he sent in, but I do know Randy Boss, and I know he's ran for trustee, and I actually suggested that since due to a technicality, he wasn't able to get on the ballot, that if he wants to get involved in the fire department, he should has to be appointed as commissioner. And took my advice and put a letter, so I have no problem with Randy being on a commission.
Anyone else have any discussion about our two candidates?
No, it's nice to see Brady showing up for meetings.
Kyle's come to a couple of meetings.
Plus, he's been on
Kyle's-
Zoom a lot.
Kyle is he the one that donated this equipment? Was that-
Yes.
was that-
Oh, that was- okay.
Yeah.
We were both qualified as far as I'm concerned.
Rob, it's your seat that he's gonna fill.
It's not my seat,
Well, your
it's the
former.
district seat.
So it's a position you held. As you read these letters, do you have any opinion?
No, I think I'm not necessarily swayed one way or the other on either. I think they're both very well qualified individuals. I think they both could probably do a very good job. I know Randy ever so slightly more than I know Kyle, and that's just, I know Randy slightly. I think Randy would do fine in the position. I think Kyle would do fine in the position. I don't, I don't have anything concerning for either.
Jennifer?
I mean, usually we're begging for people to come forward and volunteer
It's so
for
odd to
things.
have
Kind of like we like to
options.
make two positions.
Yeah, so like, that's
Right.
the downside is now we have two people come forward and
Right.
both would be great for it. Obviously probably known Randy my entire life just because I grew up in town and only known Kyle the last year or so. But both are active and participating in town and wanting to participate more. So I think both would be a great addition. And hope that whichever one does not get appointed stays involved.
Yes.
Because another position will come up.
Another position. Well, then, do we have a second to appoint Randy Voss to our commission board? All in favor?
Roll call this one.
This was a roll call also. We're
President
spending
Voss?
money. Yes.
Secretary Stats.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Gannon.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes. Congrats, Randy.
Congratulations, Randy. He's on vacation right now, but he'll find out when he gets home.
Yeah, Kyle, please stay.
Yes, please, if you're there. Discuss appraisal companies.
Going back to my report, I wasn't aware of any. The two we've had thus far were recommended to me by the community development coordinator over the village, Peter Crummins. I've been trying to find more, hopefully through the architect we're dealing with. I expect to have some more, and I would like to get multiple bids. It was on the agenda, but I would like to take a step back to make sure that we make a good selection or selections in order to get that number dialed in well. So I just wanted to give you that update if anyone is aware of any other entities.
The only other company that I know that does commercial inspections would be John Lou and Associates on Lisle, and quite honestly, I don't even know if he's still in business. but it's spelled Lewe.
My dad's trying to remember who they brought in that independently appraised our property, because some of the companies that were used are some of the names that he has already, and they were very off from what the other appraisal was. So that's, but, old age, no offense, Dad, but he's not watching. Old age, and he can't remember the name of the company, so
Your
we're
mom may be secretly watching. We don't know.
Just a thought, but perhaps maybe contact Chase to see if they have any
Good idea.
people that they use for their commercial lending. Or Great Ridge.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, yeah, so I just, after we had the initial two, I had some reservations about not getting additional ones in advance of putting up for the board's consideration. So that's why I wanted to give that explanation to you all. It goes back to some of the conversation we're having the other day. So,
I'll ask our commercial guy at the office.
thank you.
Great. It's been suggested that we leave the last item on new business, the deputy chief selection process, to go into executive session.
We may have to come back to cover that, but there's an executive session that I would like to.
Can we recess that?
In advance of that, yes. For purposes of the department, in terms of the specific person.
With that being done, anyone want to pay the bills?
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Pay the bills. We're going to recess into executive.
Yes.
Thank you all for attending.
Is there a motion for recessing?
No. Hey.
I move we
Just as I
recess.
sit here, doesn't mean I always pay attention.
And I'd like to thank Kyle for
Yeah.
applying for the position, because it's important that we have people that stay.
Right, I think 100% open days with us. So, should we pass that executive session?
Do we have a
Recess?
motion? I just need a
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gosh. Okay, so we are. This. I don't want one. I want that little machine. This is enough. I've been corrected more times tonight than I think I have in my entire childhood. We're gonna.
Sounds a lot.
Explains a lot, doesn't it? So, maybe I didn't notice I was being corrected. I just moved on. We're going to come back into our regular meeting. We're going to.
Do we need to make a
And I will
motion?
call the roll.
We need to make a motion. Thank you.
Here,
President Callis,
I'm still here.
trustee Sacks.
I'm here.
Here.
Here, man. Anyone leave during the executive session? I am aware.
All present, all accounted for. You.
Mine's not helping any.
Right. So, we are going to discuss the deputy chief selection process, and we feel when it's warranted, we're going to resume that process as we're going to.
Basically,
She's
what's
got a
in
hand
front
up.
of you,
Right.
similar to what we've had in the past, except the highlighted makes changes as a result of.
Thank you.
Previous issues.
Okay.
Clearly, the salary structure had to get changed because the salary structure is just that much higher than all the other districts, so we had to be competitive. And change your wording a little bit to put minimum on there so that.
Right, so right on.
Exactly. And then where the education is, we left out a little calculated field to, again, make the track better. And then, of course, the
Okay. Let's go to the highlighted fields that we're talking about.
Got anything to add?
No.
So we need a motion
Uh,
or roll
Yeah,
call.
I think what was done the last time was you appointed one of the members of the board to work with the chief in determining the dissemination of this material and where it would go.
Well, Phil and Chief, you two have worked well together. I would like to.
I'm fine with it.
Thank you very much. I will nominate or appoint Phil Sossi.
We have seconds on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we need to do
Okay, and-
anything to ratify this?
Yeah, so then,
I'll make a
You'll
motion
see.
where we ratify this.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I
Make a
believe
motion
we
to
are
adjourn.
done. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go.